What I want to demonstrate today is how the font awesome icon picker is actually working. So it's a new component that we just created to help one pick an icon that they want from font awesome. The icons that we're using are the free version, version 6.7.2 that we have included within the component itself. And what the component allows one to do is to search from 1,800 icons that are available for the icon that they want to use for that particular component. So I've started B4J and started the low-code generator tool. As has been indicated before, this tool is developed using B4J and is developed using Banana. So what we're going to do now is just to start the project and run it, and then Banana will compile the project into JavaScript and HTML and CSS, and then we'll start the application, and then we'll run the project that we were last working on. So the project definitions in relation to what I'm currently running are stored on IndexedDB. Making them available in relation to, you don't need to install any backend server to run the low-code generator tool. So you get it from GitHub, you run it on a local web server, or you run it directly from Vercel, and then it will just work and use your browser as a storage. So currently it's just compiling the application into a web application, because what the Banana transpiler does is to take all the code that has been written in B4X and converts it into a usable application for us. So we're just going to finish compiling the application and then start the web browser, and then it will activate our low-code tool. And then after that, we can see in terms of how the new component that we have defined is going to be used in a real world application when you are creating your user interfaces. So this process takes some time. It also depends on the speed of your PC or whatever you are using. But when it's done compiling, then it's able to show what has been happening in relation to your application. The nice thing about B4J is that you're able to use the same code base in relation to developing your applications. Excuse me. So it has been very interesting to create this font icon picker, because what I decided to do is to actually test what would Microsoft Copilot generate if I could give it a prompt and actually ask it to create a component for me. So that is what I did, and I spent a couple of hours, of course, creating the custom component because I needed it to work in a particular fashion in relation to what I needed. So I prompted and I managed to create a web component that is actually going to be able to be used in relation to what I'm going to be doing. So I've published the component source code on GitHub so that it's available for anyone who wants to use it. It's developed using Daisy UI, which is a component framework for Tailwind CSS. So that's how everything else has gone in relation to this particular web component. So we're just going to wait for this thing to finalize compiling the source code here, and then run the application itself. So the website is opened. So what I need to do now is to start my Laracon. because I'm using Laracon as a web server for developing this particular web application. So I'm going to refresh this again so that it opens up my application. Let's start again. Let's do that again. Because this is running, isn't it? Oh, here is it. Okay, here is it. So what we've done before is to actually create a test project here. So here are the definitions of the project. So we're going to go to the designer, open it, and then this is the project definition that we have here. So this is the project here. So what we're going to do is to actually add a page. So we're going to add a page in this particular project. And then there is the page there. And then what we can do on the page is to basically add perhaps a model, because the component itself is going to be placed on a model. So I'm going to set this thing active and then add a model. And then here is our model. So inside the model, there's the box, the title, text, and form and action. These buttons are sitting inside the action. So what I'm going to do now is to add the new icon picker component. So it's going to be added here. So let's just go to plugins, and then I'm going to select the icon picker. So this current moment is sitting beneath the model. So I'm going to take this and drop it inside the form of the model, because that is where I want this thing to be placed in. So let's search for an icon called car. And then what it's going to do is to find all the icons that are basically related to that. So we can go to the next page and go to the next page. There are about 5 pages here. So you go to the previous page. If, for example, we want to download a CSV of this particular icon, we just click there and then you go to download CSV and it's going to be downloaded. So what this basically means is that at the end of the day, you are able to search for icons within the font awesome collection and also be able to download it. We can also make the icon picker to be multiple, which basically means that it's going to allow for multiple icons to be taken. So if we click there, like we said, icons per page is 20. So if we click there and save this, so it has activated our icon picker so that it actually is able to, for us to select multiple icons. So now if you search for, let's search for house, for example, it lists us everything that is related to a house. So we can select multiple icons. You see now the user interface has changed. So we can search for different icons, igloo, and then if you say export selected, what it's going to do is to create a zip file that will actually contain all the icons that we selected in our search. So you open the zip file and then there are the icons that we're actually searching for. So this makes it easy when you're developing an application and want to use a CSV file, SVG file, sorry, for your application. So let's clear the selection here. And then let's say that we want to put an icon on this model here now when we're developing actually a real application. So what we're going to do is to open the properties for the model. Now we want to then search for an icon for the model. So the icon is here. So you click there to search for the icon. It's going to activate a model dialog here. Let's say we want to put a pencil icon on the model. Let's put this one. And then we apply. And then we say the icon is going to be visible. And then we choose the color of the icon. Let's choose that particular color there for that particular icon. So this setting here is going to be applied to the model here. Yeah? Let's say font awesome icon picker, you know. So we save the properties of this particular model. And now what you're going to see is to see this particular icon added there, and our title, we changed it. So you can export this particular code in relation to and putting it in your B4X project, because what it has done now is to build the code in relation to the title that we wanted, and also the SVG that we want to use here. So you download that SVG and then import it in your project, and it will be available for use. And then this is the HTML of this particular thing. So as you can see here now, we've built a fully encompassing web component that can be used to search for icon, that has pagination and all sorts of other things. So I wanted to demonstrate in terms of how we've used this particular component in relation to the low code application now, because we are able, by using it internally in the project, for us to be able to pick an icon that we want. So where, for example, an icon is required in your properties box, you are able to choose it using this. Okay. And also you will be able to select the color in relation to the color of the icon by specifying it there. So that is how everything works in relation to this particular component here. So for example, here the success color, there's no color, and all sorts of other things that we have in relation to. We're trying to make the low code platform to be as easy as possible to use, so that you don't actually have to go and open up a website to search for your icons, but can just search for icons within the tool itself. So that is currently where we are standing in relation to the new icon picker component. Thank you.